everybody. Today we're going to talk about manipulating cell attributes inside a grid. The topics which we're going to handle are, for example, changing data type, data formats on a cell, making something bold, colors, adding icons or images to a cell, and stuff like that. So the first thing we'll do is go through the grid. This is basically the application which we earlier made, and I've added two additional columns here: discount and balance, which I added here in my grid definition list. I simply added these additional columns to be viewed. And also this part here has been added. It's the ampersand formatting for this include, and basically after the columns are created, it loops through all the columns, and it can handle or it can add additional formatting code here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some images to our cell country. So what I'll do is I'll just paste my code here. There we go. So in the grid definition, we need to add here a little function called column HTML image. Now this column HTML image is a built-in function which will simplify some of the work for you. And you can find this, of course, this function, if we search on that in this include. Sorry, not in this include, it's in the procedures include, sorry. So it's here in the procedures include, here it is. And basically what we're doing is just having this little code here, and of course our additional parameters which we want to include. And we're saying here, please add a little bit of HTML in this cell, which is a div with an image, and the value has to be placed here. Of course you can do all of that manually, but we've made a little function for that. Now once you did that, we have prepared this cell or this column for potential images, and now we're going to our grid data, and here in the grid post row fill I'll put some code here which I prepared. Sorry, go back here. I'll paste it here. There you go. So what I want to do is, if the customer is from USA, then please put in the country column some additional cell attributes. It's a procedure which can be found in the grid data procedures include, and this is how that looks like. It'll basically create a temp table record back in the data set. It sends it back together with the data with additional cell attribute and formatting. So what we're doing here is saying, okay, please use the placeholders for the values, and the data is the image name, and the image name is one of the images which we have uploaded in our designer. So if you want to upload images or icons, you can do so in the projects. You can go here to your project and basically click on this button, and here you can access the media files, and as you can see I've uploaded already some images here in my example. So this is basically the image which we want to display in our cell. Be careful, the image names are case sensitive, so make sure you're writing the code correctly. Now if I refresh this grid, then as you can see, the images have been added to all the USA customers. So now we go to the next step. We'll go back to the grid dev, this one, and let's now add a progress bar. So again, we'll repeat the same action. In the grid definition, we need to say I would like to have a progress bar on the discount column. Again, a little function where we specify some colors here, the fill color. And if we have a look on the procedures, then we have here this little function which will do some work for us. It's going to say its type progress bar, which is built in the data grid. The placement is center, some fill color labels, etc. Can be used. Now we'll go ahead and save that. Next we'll go to the grid data and we'll add additional code here as well. For example, if it's customer, where is it? Sorry, here. This is for my progress bar. So here what I'm saying is, okay, I can add additional cells. I could say, okay, if the discount on the discount field, if the discount is smaller than 20%, then I'll change the color to this. If it's smaller than 40%, I'll change it to this. Otherwise, it is this color. So let's have a look and see what the result is. There you go. We have our discount field, our progress bar basically turned into a discount field turned into a progress bar. Okay, so next thing I want to show you is, again, in the grid definition. I'll close that for a second. Now we can also add buttons. So again, I'll do the same thing in grid definitions. I'll add this little piece of code and I'll explain. So this means on the cust number column, I would like to put a HTML button. The label should be modify this customer, and here's a little div basically with some colors and the icon which I would like it to use. So that's about it for the definitions. Now we go to the data, and here in the data I'll simply add this code here. There we go. So I want to add here a button, and I want to start this little app in the action modify. So that's all I need to do here, and I'll go ahead and check the results. I'll refresh my grid. Okay, there you have it. We have our little icon here with our tooltip label, modify this customer. And if I click on that, as you can see, it basically executes the code which is linked to my modification action. Now we can basically start any app that we want. We can just add the correct code in these buttons, that's all. Now as last, I also want to show you how you could manipulate, for example, row attributes, not only cell but the rows. So I'll go to the grid data and I'll simply put that here. So if my country is United Kingdom, then my row attributes which I want to apply is the font size 10. The text color should be this, it should be bold, and it should be italic. So these are my row attributes. let's go ahead and see what results that gives me. I'll refresh the grid again, and there you have it. I've manipulated the row attributes. It's as easy as that. Now, all these attributes and more can be set, and if you want to know which attributes exactly, you simply open up your application. Here's your data grid, and here you have all the attributes on the grid, and you have also attributes on the row. So if you want to know which row attributes you can manipulate, just go ahead and use these keywords here and apply them as specified in the example. One last thing maybe, which is quite interesting. As I said, you can manipulate any attribute of a cell, and one of the things which I find quite useful is this one, where we manipulate the data format of the cell. So for example, here I have a balance. If my balance is over 10,000, it's just an example, then I want to change my default format of my cell into a dollar, some leading zeros which I don't want to see, and 4 decimal positions. So sometimes it's kind of useful to change the data format if we're talking about VAT numbers for certain countries, or if you have certain products which are linked to a certain unit which doesn't want to apply decimals, then you can simply apply this technique to play around with those attributes. So let's take a look again. So here's the balance. As you can see, I've manipulated the data format. Everything over 10,000, here for example 12,000, has 4 decimals and a dollar sign in front of it. You can format it however you want. You can even type here some text. I'll change that for a sec into US dollars, for example. Then I'll refresh the grid, and here you have it, US dollars. So, hope you enjoyed that, and till next time.